Hello everyone, Suryan here. So I'm going through the recent KOF 15 trailer and I'll talk about my observations of certain mechanics and how they relate to the in-game HUD specifically. I'll try to go through them in loose chronological order, so with that in mind, let's do this. So a fitting starting point for us to take a closer look at the HUD is this round start screen over here. Everything here seems to follow most of KOF match norms, like the 60 seconds here on the top, the blue guard gauge, the green health with character sprites here of Mei Tenkun and Shun'ei. But what's unique about this section, however, is on the bottom part of the screen, you'll see that it says 0 meters, 0 power, but crucially, no max mode bar to speak of. Both Shun'ei and Mei Tenkun do not have a max mode bar to speak of. This is in contrast to a lot of the prior footage and screenshots we've seen of the game that have always had some kind of max mode OK or full max mode bar just above the power bar. In other words, in KOF 15, max mode isn't a dedicated bar that you fill up like the HD bar in KOF 13. Instead, this time, you either qualify for max mode or you don't. The next most important thing, of course, would be to look at Shatter Strike. Now we take a look at this particular screen here. We will go frame by frame. So we see here that Iori has done his stand D and Kyo is in the middle of doing the Shatter Strike as we speak. Now you'll notice that they first started off this exchange with 5 bars and now Kyo is left with 4 bars, but this is what's interesting. If we keep going, when the Shatter Strike makes contact successfully, Kyo gets half of his power bar back upon it landing successfully. And if it lands successfully on a grounded opponent, you will see that Iori just crumples, like so. And the same effect can be seen for Iori as well. Now interestingly, the same sort of meter effects will happen if the Shatter Strike connects on an airborne opponent, where you'll see that Iori's jump C will clip Kyo's Shatter Strike. Kyo connects with his Shatter Strike and he'll get half a bar back for successfully landing it. And because Iori was airborne when he tried to clip the Shatter Strike, he gets the counter wire as a result, or a wall bounce, whatever you want to call it, and then this means you can then follow up with whatever you choose to follow up with after that. Now, as far as my opinion on Shatter Strike goes, it does concern me that it might impede the overall offensive nature that KOF is known for, and especially because it's largely inexpensive. You're only spending half a bar with an additional layer of protection to do potentially big damage. But again, a lot of it is hearsay, so a lot of this remains to be seen in how it will pan out. Maybe it'll scale quite heavily, or maybe it'll be punishable. It's really tough to say at the moment, but I do have those concerns at the moment. Now we'll move on to max mode. So if you look at this particular frame here, you'll see that Shun'ei starts with 5 bars and has a full max mode stock ready. If you keep going, you'll notice how 2 bars, as seen here, have disappeared, and now the max mode bar has extended ever so slightly. This extension also probably indicates that it's something that's limited to a character that's in the last position because he has 5 bars to work with. By the same token, if you take a look at Mei Tenkun here, just pay attention to Mei Tenkun's bar very quickly. You'll notice how now both Shun'ei and Mei Tenkun in this exact frame here both have 3 bars at their maximum and they have a full max mode bar. Now if you watch closely, pay attention to the 3 here and the maximum, you'll see that Mei Tenkun will spend 2 bars and his max mode will convert into an expendable form. Notice how it went from 3 to 1 right here. And notice how the max mode is the exact same length as the power bar. Contrast that with Shune, we had basically an extended max mode bar compared to his power meter. This is also to indicate that if the character is in the first position, since they only had a maximum of 3 power stocks, that the bar is going to be shorter than if the character was in the last position, where they'll have a longer max mode bar to work with. So we're going to take a closer look at Shune's max mode, where he will first get into max mode, and then we will see how that bar is going to be spent, and how that bar is going to be spent, and how that bar is going to decrease. So we'll just go frame by frame. So as we see here, he spent 2 bars and he has the extended max mode. What you'll also notice right away is that Shune started off with an EX move and started the max mode pretty much right away. And you'll also notice right here that a sizable chunk of the max mode, about 10% of it, has already been taken off from the get-go. This is to indicate that there's probably some sort of bypass max mode that's available. KOF 14 has something similar, where you could use the EX move plus B and C together, and that will get you your first EX move into the max mode. And as you can see here, using an EX move will take off a chunk of that max mode. So if we keep going, Shune will likely spend another EX move here. And you notice how it did another chunk, another 10%. But you'll also notice that the bar is also getting lower. It's decreasing with time. And now we'll move on to the quick max. So with quick max, it works very similarly with the raw max mode, or just max mode as it's called now. And the big distinction with the quick max is you will have to connect a move on your opponent, and once that move is connected, you can cancel said move into max mode. So you'll see here Shune does what I presume is a standing D into a forward B, and then he does the quick max. And you will notice in the quick max, the screen freezes temporarily so he can get into this mode. And there's that purple-pink hue that sort of emanates from Shune. What you'll also notice, crucially, is that even though Shune is in the last position, his max mode bar is about half of what it would be had he just done the raw max mode instead. This also is kind of in line with how it is in KOF 14, where if you do a quick max instead of a raw max, you will start with half the bar to work with as opposed to a full bar. And in a similar fashion, as I'm going through the frames, you'll notice that the max mode bar is also ticking down as time goes on. And you'll notice a similar sort of trend with Mei Tenkun as well here. So as far as max mode is concerned in this game, it does feel like they're trying to distance themselves from how it was implemented in 14, especially because it was very max mode heavy in 14, to the point where like things like level 1s weren't used nearly as often. And you can also tell even from what we discussed earlier that the first character, because they don't have that max mode bar immediately, it seems to suggest that max mode is going to be much more of an investment and something that you need to be more careful with because it's going to spend 2 bars. How I feel about this, because I genuinely did like how max mode worked in 14. And granted, it was a bit excessive at times, but I did enjoy that you could just pull off relatively lengthy combos at any given point. But we'll see how it works out in 15 and where it takes off. But yeah, in general, we can definitely see that it's more of an investment in 15. Now we're gonna go looking at EX moves in KOF 15 and how much it'll cost to do them, especially when you're not in max mode. So what you'll see here is Shune do his sort of lunging ephemeral hand attack. So you'll notice right away he has, if we're looking at Shune in particular, he's got just short of an entire power bar. As this keeps going, what you'll notice is very interesting. He will spend the meter will deplete before Shune actually does the move. So just watch this meter very quickly. Notice how it gets spent, and the move hasn't quite come out just yet. So this is a very similar thing that you'll find in a lot of 2D fighting games. Street Fighter 4 is also a very similar thing. And not to mention, Mei-Ten-Kun also has a very similar thing going on as well. Because he's just spent, because he had a maximum of 3 bars, and now he's gone down to 2.5. So all in all, this is to say that an EX move is going to cost half of your power bar. And this is in contrast to especially the way it was done in KOF 13, where it would take up an entire bar to do one EX move. At the time of recording this video, SNK has released a KOF 15 specific website, which covers a lot of the stuff that I've covered, but no point crying over spoiled milk. If you want to see more of the stuff that we did cover, you can head over to the features page of the website. But even just the website alone, there's a lot of stuff for you to take a look at. But in the features page, you will see the battle systems that we've discussed and more. On top of that, you'll also see a sneak peek into the online modes that we have for KOF 15, as well as some of the other content that's coming alongside the game. On top of that, you'll also have access to info on the characters that'll be playable in the game. You will have info that pertains to the lore, courtesy of Bellamy's interview, and you'll also have stats relevant to the characters, so you know exactly what you're getting your hands on when the game comes out. The link to the website will be in the description. And that about wraps up this video. I hope you're able to pick up something about King of Fighters 15 for its impending debut in the 22nd of February of 2022. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you are as well. Now, I do hope to make more KOF 15 or just general KOF content in general. If you're looking forward to that, just leave a like, comment, subscribe, you know the drill. And yeah, if there's any other particular content you have in mind that you'd like to see me work on, or if there's, I have in mind stuff like tutorials and wish lists and all that stuff. But if you have anything specific, just let me know. Just put it out in the comment and see how we go from there. Also, for what it's worth, I also stream as well on Twitch, and for the entire month of September, I'll be playing King of Fighters 14, and we can talk about more KOF then. I do look forward to doing so with you guys. Until then, it's been a pleasure. Do have a nice day on your end, and take care.